All right, hey guys, Josh here with another 2 millimeter shift. And this one is really very simple. And I'll tell you kind of where I heard this, and I'll tell you a quick story about a little experiment that I did on it. And some of you are going to know this. A lot of you aren't going to be doing it. I even fail to do it sometimes, but every time I do and I get back on track with this, it's magic in my life, right? This is a productivity hack. If you want to accomplish certain things in your life, you're just simply going to have to be productive in certain directions, right? There's no way around it. It's time or it's money. You're either creating productivity out of time or you're creating productivity out of money using somebody else's time. There's really no other equation for it. So how do you know how to be productive and what to be productive with? And then how do you really make sure that it gets done, right? There's a simple process for this. So I remember I was listening to Will Smith a long time ago, and he was talking about, it was an interview, but he was talking about his work ethic, right? And he said, here's the deal. If you challenge me to get on a treadmill and we have a challenge to see how long each of us can be on that thing before we collapse, he said, one of two things is going to happen. I'm either going to win or I'm going to die. Those are the only two outcomes that are possible. And I remembered that because it sounded so extreme, right? Like I'm going to win or I'm going to die. And it was like, man, that's like a really intense way to be. But of course, you know, aside from other things that people might talk about Will Smith culturally, like what he's been able to accomplish from his career has been quite admirable, I would think, right? Like he's a pretty good actor, pretty good musician, right? And everything he's done has been really well because he's got this insane work ethic. Well, fast forward that to a different part of my life where I'm actually taking business more seriously. I start to remember this idea. And my fiance, Meg, she is the king of the power list, right? If it's not on her list, it doesn't exist. And it's weird because sometimes I'm not on that list, right? For sure. We're both a little bit of a workaholic kind of relationship. But here's the deal. The list is really, really helpful. But I started going, for me, I can't just make a list because I'll actually just go, yeah, cool, I made a list and then still not do it. Because I already had the list in my head. I already knew what I needed to do and I wasn't doing it, right? So the list didn't empower me the same way until I put a different frame around it. And a couple of years ago, I created an experiment called Operation Override. And the whole point of Operation Override was to do two things. It was to impart this idea of this gets done or I die. That's it. You write 3 things down that you're going to get done today or you die. Those are the only 2 outcomes. If you happen to fail and not die, then the extra piece of consequence is the next day you had to go to the group and publicly show your receipt for having donated to your favorite charity. Period. Like there was a consequence put on it. It wasn't just that it didn't get done, but if it didn't get done and you failed, you were going to have to give money to something. So at least somebody benefited for your inadequacy. And that's how rigid I was about it, right? Like if you're not going to do it for yourself, then you darn sure better give to somebody else because you're either going to impact this world in a positive way or get out of here, right? That was basically the thinking around it. It's very simplistic and very rigid structure. These 3 things get done today or I die. Doesn't matter if it takes till 4 a.m., these tasks get accomplished. If I fail, I wake up tomorrow and I send $100, $1,000, whatever it is, to my favorite charity, and I have to go publicly admit that I failed my tasks yesterday and I paid my dues to society. I'm here to crush them today, right? So that process is an insanely powerful process, right? If you're good with just the list and you go, checking these boxes off gives me this little dopamine hit and I feel good about it, that's awesome. I love that that's the case for you. For me, it just wasn't quite there. I needed something more extreme, and probably I needed it to be my own way. I can be a little resistive to authority or common concepts, and I've got to, for whatever reason, make it my own. But when I did, I realized it was really helpful for other people. So I want you to think about this today. Even if you put one task on your list and you say, this gets done today or I die, those are the only 2 outcomes. And if I don't die, man, I got to cut a check tomorrow, right? And trust me, when you're cutting checks that you don't intend to check because you failed yourself, it has a different weight to it. It has a different thing. So I want you to give that a shot. Put that to work in your life and just use social media as the example. Set the example for the people around you. Hey guys, This is what I do for my productivity every day. You see me posted this. I'm not posting because I'm excited and bragging that I donated to this charity. This is me telling you that I'm still impacting the world even though I failed myself yesterday. Want to do the same? Right? Invite people along for the journey. Create your own little community around it, whatever you want to do. But if you can get back to this habit of do or die and really put that weight on yourself, there's no other options, period. Like, it doesn't matter what, I don't even care if emergencies come up. Somebody dies, they get in the hospital, you go, oh, that's terrible. I got to deal with that. That's awful, but I still needed to call this client and get this thing done. Frick. All right, let me go get this client thing out of the way so I can really put my time and attention here. You will be shocked and surprised and live in awe of yourself of how much time you actually have when you actually put the right psychological weight on productivity. And I'll give you an example, right? How resourceful do you think you would get if there was a gun to one of the most important people in your life's head and you had 24 hours to get that thing done? Or they die, right? And I know that's an extreme, like, that's a really extreme kind of visual to think about, but I just want you to think about it in terms of what you're capable of, right? Imagine if you didn't need that level of motivation to be that capable, how much more you'd get done in a day, right? The point of the illustration is to show you that you know as well as I do, you're insanely capable if you decide to be. Sometimes we need some help deciding to be. So this do or die strategy, you'll get more done in a day, more done in a week, more done in a month than most people will get done in a year if you apply this the right way. The next thing to know is what tasks you can accomplish within that time period and how that stacks up to bigger outcomes that you're looking at. But that's an evaluation I'll leave to you at this point. I just want you to get used to playing the game. And when you play that game with yourself, you will find a dimension in yourself that you went, how did I not know this was here? Because you'll just be getting stuff done left, right, and center. So I look forward to hearing about it. We'll talk to you soon on the next 2mm shift. I still hate that sign up. On the next 2mm shift. I still need a different tagline. Anyways, we'll talk to you soon. Appreciate you.